A pleasant good evening and welcome to the Woodland Hills Wolverina. Woodland Hills taking on the Bethel Park Blackhawks in a Southeast Conference matchup. Adam Gusky and Fred Guy on the call for you all across the Woodland Hills Football Network. And we thank you for joining us no matter where you are across the globe or here in the eastern suburbs of Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania. And Fred, Woodland Hills taking on Bethel Park in this Southeast Conference matchup. The first time these two teams have ever met in conference play. And Bethel Park certainly has motivation to get another conference win on the year. They're 1-1. Meanwhile, the Wolverines look for their first conference win of the year. While they're 1-1, their only victory has come out of conference against McKeesport a week ago.
Yeah, and this is going to be a confidence booster for Woodland Hills going into this game. If they can get this victory, getting back to 1-1, even in the conference, 2-1 overall. But a lot of things have to happen for them to get that victory. One, the offense has to be clicking like it did last week. It was a newer offense. They ran two sidecars. They're going to do the same again this week. But you're also going to see some one-car set with Harry Randall back in the lineup after being out for the first two games.
Well, that was a certain positive for Woodland Hills, having Harry Randall back out there on the field. He was a dynamite offensive threat a year ago, and yet again, this season, we hope he is the same. Nice fall evening here in western Pennsylvania, about 70 degrees. Humidity has dropped a bit because the rain came down a little while ago here at the Wolverina, so things have cooled off a little bit here. Crowd a little sparse because of the rain, so we thank you for tuning in at home for this game, but the students are piling in as usual for this one here in Turtle Creek, Pennsylvania. Along the far sideline, the Wolverines going old school style with the black jerseys, white pants, turquoise helmets with the black ears and stripes. Near sideline, all white are the Bethel Park Blackhawks. They wear the white jerseys, white pants, black numerals with the orange trim, and the black helmets with Hawks on both sides. Woodland Hills won the toss, deferred their choice to the second half. Bethel Park elected to receive, and we are underway in Turtle Creek, PA. It's a squibbing kick that is covered up by a Bethel Park up man right around the 32-yard line, and that is Carmen Jansanti on the recovery off of the kick from Donald Cassidy. And it'll be first down and 10 for Bethel Park, ball at the 33.
Yeah, like I mentioned earlier, Adam, that Bethel Park does have a freshman quarterback in Levi Matheny, but he also has two really big offensive linemen, number 74 and 75, respectively, Casey Schreiner and Michael Grimm.
So again, at the 33-yard line, it's first and 10 for Bethel Park, and they will hand off, and it's over left tackle. The ball carrier is Zach Enick, and Enick is brought down after a gain of about a yard. Alex Beasley on the tackle for Woodland Hills, the 3-year starter at linebacker.
Yeah, with having that inexperience at quarterback, I don't really see Bethel Park putting up the ball, passing the ball too much today, especially when you have those big offensive linemen to run behind.
So 2nd and 9 for Bethel Park. Ball is at the 34-yard line after Enick got the first carry of the game for 1 yard. Enick again, the ball carrier on a counter coming to the near side. Was well blocked initially. Enick was basically tripped up by the 33-yard line, and he is brought down back at that 33. And it is a loss of 1, 3rd and 10.
And that's an unfortunate play for Bethel Park. I mean, it looked like the running back had a lot of green out in front of him after it was well blocked by number 71, Ryan Sosnak.
So 3rd and 10 for the Bethel Park Blackhawks. I backfield behind the QB, the freshman, Levi Matheny. And he will run off of play action, look to the near side left. The pass intended for Avery Dibble is way high. And the coverage on the play by Woodland Hills is Latal Brimage. So that incomplete pass brings up 4th down and 10. And the Blackhawks will bring on the punt unit. Matheny is the punter. The deep man is Randall. And Harry Randall will call for the fair catch at the 25-yard line. And Fred, thinking back to last year, how many kick returns did we see from Harry Randall go to the house? Some of them called back, but, it was countless if you really start to think about the amount that were actually called back from penalties.
Yeah, he was certainly a game changer in the special teams for Woodland Hills last year. It's good to see him back in the lineup this week. I know he's going to be playing some tailback, maybe a little bit of wide receiver. So we'll see if Cody McClellan can find him in some open space to get him the ball.
10:31 to play in a scoreless first quarter. Woodland Hills with the ball at their own 25-yard line. Shotgun formation, sidecars to either side of McClellan, and he will hand off, and the ball carrier is Harry Randall. He bounces it out to the near sideline and has near first down yardage, a gain of around 10 yards. And we'll see where they spot that football. And it is going to be at the 35, so it is a first down for Woodland Hills, 1st and 10 for the Wolverines at the 35. And Harry Randall, his presence is felt immediately.
Yeah, that's an excellent call by Coach Novak to get him the ball in the first play, get him involved in the offense, and also along with that play, Trayvon Mathis had a great block on the outside to spring him for that first down.
Daquan White and Randall are the sidecars next to Cody McClellan. He had two receivers to the near side right, but there is a flag down, and it looked like Bethel Park was in the neutral zone, but we'll get the call from the official.
Encroachment against the defense. 5-yard penalty, remains first down.
So that 5-yard penalty moves the ball up to the 40-yard line, where it'll be first down and 5 for the Wolverines at the 40. 10:25 to play here in the scoreless first quarter. Bethel Park 3 and out on their first drive. McClellan, the quarterback, in the shotgun. Randall and White are his sidecars to either side. White will be the ball carrier. Picks up a nice block from Randall, and White off to the races, but is tripped up as he crosses into Blackhawk territory. Had he been able to keep his balance around the 45-yard line, he would have gone to the house, but instead Daquan White still picks up big yardage. 16 yards on that carry for Daquan White.
Yeah, excellent run by White on that. It was just a simple, running back to the left side. Picked up a great block by Harry Randall. And like you said, if he kept his balance, he's actually in the end zone right now.
Daquan White with a touchdown a week ago. Remains in as one of the sidecars next to McClellan. This time it is Harry Randall who will leap into the arms of a trio of white jerseys. Leading the charge for the Blackhawks is number 91, Michael Brucker. Short loss on the play brings up 2nd down and 11.
Yeah, that play was well defended by the Blackhawks on that last play. The cornerback, number 24, Danny Emma, made a great play and a great read on that and just darted right into the backfield to get Randall down for a short loss.
James Ronig steps over the football. It's 2nd down and 11. Cody McClellan's going to keep the football this time, and the Blackhawks were not at all tricked by the play action. McClellan brought down just shy of the 50-yard line. And it's going to be 3rd down and 15 for the Wolverines after that 4-yard loss.
You know, as I mentioned earlier in the pregame, it looks like they were both those bigger linemen, Schreiner and Grimm, are actually playing both ways. So they're going to put some pressure on Cody McClellan today.
And they both came out for this nickel formation for the Blackhawks. Back to passes. McClellan, he is pressured. Looks left, throws left, and the pass intended for Tom Green just skips before it hits Tom Green. Last week, State Senator Jay Costa, player of the game. That incomplete pass brings up 4th down and 15. And the Wolverines bring on the punt unit, but we saw a year ago Harry Randall almost always has the green light to go on the fake if he has the opportunity.
Yeah, and what we mean by the green light is he has a run option. If he feels that he can get that first down, he'll certainly tuck the ball and run with it.
And Randall will run to his right, and he will boot into this one. It's a sky-high punt that will take a Woodland Hills bounce at the 30 and carry all the way down inside the 15 to the 11-yard line, where it's downed by Turner. And a nice kick by Randall. At first, it didn't look like it was going to be that pretty, but a bounce around the 30-yard line ended up picking up another 19 yards on that punt.
Yeah, that was a very fortunate bounce for the Woodland Hills Wolverines. As we were looking at that punt, we saw it go sky high, and like you said, once it bounced around the 30, you know, all the Bethel Park Blackhawks players just got away from the ball, took a great bounce for the Woodland Hills Wolverines, and Bethel Park is starting deep in their own zone.
37-yard punt is the net for Randall, and the handoff will go to the fullback for the Blackhawks, and Woodland Hills sniffed that out quickly. Virtually every defender in the front 7 was on top of the ball carrier there. And the ball carrier is number 39, John Mascaro. No gain on the play, brings up 2nd and 10. So the Blackhawks face second down and 10 after Mascaro picks up no yards on his first carry of the game. Bethel Park, no yards of offense thus far today. And now the Blackhawks will work off play action. Matheny throws it deep, has a receiver open, and that is number 10, Avery Dibble. And Dibble will be finally brought down inside of Wolverine territory at the 19-yard line. Dibble got behind Latal Brimage and was finally brought down, as I said, deep inside of Woodland Hills territory at the 19-yard line by Chris David.
And that was an excellent route by Avery Dibble on that play. He ran a post route. He saw that he had Brimage turned around, and once he hit that post, Matheny was able to put the ball right in his breadbasket and get the ball down inside the 20-yard line.
69-yard pass to Avery Dibble. So Bethel Park threatening deep inside of Woodland Hills territory in the red zone at the 19. And again, it is Mascaro getting the ball, and he has not much room to run as he is met squarely at the line of scrimmage and is brought down a yard deep in the backfield. That brings up second down and 11.
Yeah, Daniel Gibson was able to shed his block, get into the backfield, get Mascaro down for a good 1-yard loss, and hopefully give this Wolverine defense a little bit momentum in the red zone.
Second and 11, ball at the 20-yard line for Bethel Park. Bethel Park hands off. It's Mascaro, the ball carrier, and he picked up about 3 yards and then is driven back by a gang of Wolverines. The ball came loose, but long after the whistle blew, and there was a flag on the play as well. I think this is going to go against Bethel Park. And it does appear to be a hold against the Blackhawks. It'll be 10 yards from the spot of the foul as soon as Woodland Hills accepts the penalty, which you have to assume they will in this situation.
Against the offense, 10-yard penalty, repeat second down.
So 10 yards from the spot of the foul brings up second down and 19 back at the 29-yard line. Make it second down and 20 from that 29-yard line. And the Blackhawks out of the huddle here. One receiver to the near numbers left, one to the far boundary right. Pistol formation for the Blackhawks. And it's Matheny running the option, and he will pitch it off to the tailback. And, whoo, boy, did he take a licking. Gary Gerst took the pitch and was hauled down from behind by one Wolverine, and then a second black jersey came in there and absolutely tattooed Gerst.
Yeah, the Wolverine that brought him down from behind was Dante Brodus, and then Alex Beasley came up and cleaned his clock. I mean, that was a great hit by Alex Beasley. Nice, clean hit. What Woodland Hills needs to remember is that Bethel Park actually does have a quality kicker. So anytime that they get some penalties, they need to make sure they're taking them so they can give that kicker a little bit more distance.
6-yard gain for Gerst on that play brings up third down and 14 at the 23. And as Matheny steps out from under center, he lost the football momentarily, and I also think that the center was forced back onto his foot. So Matheny falls down at the 26-yard line for a 3-yard loss, and that brings up fourth down and long, 4th and 17 back at the 26.
Yeah, and you have to remember that the ball is still a little bit wet from the earlier shower that we got today. So I mean, that's going to have a big factor in today's game.
So a loss of 2 on the carry for Matheny, and the Blackhawks bring on their kicker to attempt a reasonably long field goal, 42 yards, especially for the high school ranks. It's Christensen on to attempt this field goal, and that will sail very, very wide left and no good. He certainly hooked that one, and it will be 1st and 10 for Woodland Hills from the line of scrimmage, which was the 26-yard line. Or excuse me, from the 20-yard line. It is a touchback because the ball did carry into and out of the back of the end zone before being returned by the Wolverines. So that missed field goal keeps the game scoreless with 4:47 to go here in the first quarter. So Woodland Hills has the ball at their own 20 with 4:47 to play in the first frame. Back to pass is McClellan. He finds Tom Green along the far hash, and Green is hauled down, picking up positive yardage, about 7 on that play. Make it a gain of 8 up to the. Now they're going to move the stick back to the 27. That seems to be a tradition in Western Pennsylvania high school football. The officials moving the ball back and forth and finally setting it. It was officially a 7-yard gain. McClellan to Green. And Harry Randall, the ball carrier here, and he is going to be brought down after getting back to the line of scrimmage. It certainly didn't look like he was going to pick up anything there, Fred. He was actually met in the backfield, but ended up squeaking out of a host of white jerseys and actually picked up a yard up to the 28. I'm stunned.
That is an amazing run by Harry Randall. I mean, he has the moves to break himself free at any point, whether he's trapped in the backfield, whether he's on the sideline, hemmed in with a bunch of defenders. He has that ability to make these moves and get himself at least, any kind of yardage.
Flag flies before the snap. Let's hear what the official has to say.
Dead ball foul. False start against the offense. 5-yard penalty. Remains third down.
So that 5-yard penalty moves Woodland Hills back to the 23-yard line where it's 3rd down and 7. Harry Randall thus far, 3 carries, 10 yards. And now a shotgun as the Wolverines face 3rd and long. It's going to be a screen pass for Randall. He catches it at the 20 to the 30, 35, cuts it back to the midfield stripe, 45, 40. Moving again to the far sideline, inside of the 30, inside of the 20, and finally brought down at the 17-yard line. And the Wolverines take a page out of the Denver Broncos playbook, and they run a little slip screen, and it turns into big yardage there.
Yeah, and the good thing for Harry Randall on that play is he was patient enough to wait for his blockers to get out in front of him. And then once he did, he just saw as much green as he possibly could, exploited it, and got himself down inside the red zone.
70-yard pass play there from the 23 to the 17. So Harry Randall with 80 yards of offense thus far, 10 on the ground to go along with the 70 in the air there. And a timeout is called from the far sideline. The official dropped his flag, and I'm not exactly sure why.
Was called. I have a legal substitution against the offense. It's a 5-yard penalty.
So that 5-yard penalty will push Woodland Hills back 5 yards. Woodland Hills will not use their timeout. As we initially thought. So it is 1st down and 15 for Woodland Hills from the 22-yard line. After the 70-yard screen pass from Cody McClellan to Harry Randall. 1st and 15 for Woodland Hills at the 22. Handoff will go to the tailback, and that is the freshman, number 33, Miles Sanders. Sanders lost the football, but on his way down, he had his face mask pulled, so this turnover that Bethel Park is so excited about will be all for naught. So it is the 5-yard face mask, which will push Bethel Park back from the spot of the foul. Take this opportunity to thank some of our sponsors, including State Senator Jake Costa. If you have an issue concerning state government, call
5-yard penalty against the defense. The offense will retain possession. 1st down.
So it's 1st and 10 for Woodland Hills, or rather 1st down and to the 8-yard line. So it's a 1st down and 16 for Woodland Hills. Ball is at the 24. It was a 5-yard penalty from the spot of the foul. McClellan is back to pass, looks left, throws left, has a receiver open in the end zone, and it is a touchdown Khalil Harper was wide open down the seam. And it is a Woodland Hills touchdown, and the Wolverines passing game cashes in again, Fred.
Yeah, it was a great recognition by Cody McClellan. Saw that he had Trayvon Mathis streaking right down the middle of the field. The defender on that, Cody Gilchrist, got himself turned around or something and just could not recover well enough before that pass was completed.
So Harper goes from catching the touchdown to holding on the PAT, and he gets the ball down, and the kick is up by Donald Cassidy, and it is good. And with 1:57 to play in the first quarter, the score, Woodland Hills 7, Bethel Park 0. You're tuned into the Wolverines and the Blackhawks on the Woodland Hills Football Network. 24-yard touchdown pass from Cody McClellan to Khalil Harper puts Woodland Hills up 7-0 with 1:57 to go in the first quarter. Adam Gusky and Fred Guy on the call for you here at the Wolverina in Turtle Creek in this Southeast Conference matchup. Cassidy to kick off as the rain picks up again here at the Wolverina. Cassidy, another low liner that'll bounce its way to the Bethel Park 20-yard line where it's returned by the Blackhawk deep man, Zachary Enick, and Enick is spun down by a gang of Wolverines. Enick would not go down for quite a while, but finally is hauled down. First to the scene, Khalil Harper. Well, Harper's been involved in the last 3 plays, Fred. The touchdown, the PAT, and now on the tackle on the ensuing kickoff.
Yeah, I mean, Woodland Hills, we know their big names. We know the Beasleys, the Randalls, but it's the players like Mathis and Khalil Harper. Those are the guys that Woodland Hills is going to lean on a lot throughout the course of the season to make themselves successful.
1st and 10 for Bethel Park with 1:50 to go in the first quarter. Ball at their own 24. And a tackle made deep in the backfield by Chris David, the ball carrier, number 31, Zachary Enick. Brought down, as I said, back at the 20. A loss of 4 brings up 2nd down and 14.
Yeah, it was just a great read by number 24, Chris David, to shed his wide receiver, come up from his corner position, and just make a good 3-yard loss for the Wolverines.
.110 to play as the clock is rolling here in the first quarter. Woodland Hills is up 7-0. A draw handoff this time for Enick, and he is met as he crosses the line of scrimmage. Heady play there defensively by Tom Green, who played great at defensive back a week ago. Comes up there, and there was a lot of greenery behind Tom Green, but he kept Enick honest, and just a 3-yard gain on that play, bringing up 3rd and 11. Under a minute to play here in the first quarter. Woodland Hills with the 7-0 lead. Shotgun formation this time for the QB, Levi Matheny. Snap is high, but Matheny hauls it down, and he is going to take off running. May have been a designed run, as looked like the Blackhawk receivers were just trying to run off Wolverine defensive backs. And Matheny found a little bit of room, but was brought down after crossing the initial line of scrimmage up to the 26-yard line, and it is 4th down and 8 for the Blackhawks, and that should be the final play of the quarter, and it is. Bethel Park tried to run on the punt team and get the snap off before the end of the first frame, but it is the end of the first quarter instead. And again, the score, Woodland Hills 7, Bethel Park 0. You're tuned into the Wolverines and the Blackhawks on the Woodland Hills Football Network. And we welcome you back to the Wolverina, where Woodland Hills leads Bethel Park 7-0, set to begin the second quarter here in Turtle Creek, Pennsylvania. Adam Gusky and Fred Guy on the call for you. Bethel Park with their punt unit on as they face a 4th down and 26. 4th down and 8 from the 26. Matheny will step into this one, and it is a sky-high punt. Randall's going to run underneath it and catch it on the fly at the 50-yard line, and That is a talent Randall certainly has, is catching a wobbly punt in mid-stride, and what possibly should have been a fair catch around the 50, or at least allowing the punt to bounce, turned into Woodland Hills with decent field position at the 40-yard line. Yet again, Fred, it is just another example of the athletic talents of Harry Randall.
And he has absolutely no fear back there when he's punt returning. I mean, he caught that ball in a dead run, and with Blackhawk defenders in his face, still made a positive play out of that punt return.
Ball at the Bethel Park 40. Woodland Hills first down and 10. McClellan in the shotgun, sidecar to either side. Cody back to pass, looking right, looking for Green, and Tom Green had it in his hands, but possibly Zach Rush knocked it out of there. Can't be sure from our angle, but it looked like Rush may have slapped at the arms of Green right as the football got there, because Tom Green usually very sure-handed.
Yeah, what I noticed on that play is that Tom Green usually fights for the ball anytime he's around the end zone. That was a well-placed ball by Cody McClellan, and I guess Tom Green felt that he had enough on the defender to just walk into the end zone.
Again, the shotgun formation on second down and 10. Cody off of play action. It's another screen, this time to Daquan White, and he's got all kind of room in front of him. 30, 25, 20, 15, 10, 5, end zone touchdown. Daquan White with some nifty moves around the 20-yard line, got him into the house, but there was all kind of room when he first got that ball, Fred.
There was absolutely tons of greenery in front of him. But what I want to single out on that play was the two offensive linemen that were downfield for Daquan White. Number 64, Wilford Clark, and number 75, Jordan Barnes, were downfield. They got locked up with their defenders, sprung Daquan White free for a touchdown.
Also, Trevon Mathis, a receiver downfield with a nice block. And the PAT attempt is up and in for Donald Cassidy. And the Wolverines strike quickly after a nice punt return by Harry Randall. A screen pass to Daquan White turns into a 40-yard Wolverine TD. With 11:33 to play in the second quarter, you're tuned into the Wolverines and the Blackhawks on the Woodland Hills Football Network.
Had to give it up to your boys.
And we welcome you back to the Wolverine. Adam Gusky and Fred Guy on the call for you here on the Woodland Hills Football Network. Woodland Hills cashing in on a touchdown, this time covering 24 yards from Cody McClellan to Tom Green. Green, his second reception of the football game. He now has 31 yards with that TD. And again, it's Cassidy kicking a low squib that'll be covered up by the Blackhawks right around the 31-yard line.
Yeah, Woodland Hills is doing a great job in all facets of the game so far. They took a great opportunity on that last kickoff to get that squib kick that came back to them, and they're wasting no time getting those points back on the board after those opportunities and fumbles.
First down and 10 for Bethel Park. Ball at the 30. 9:50 to play here in the second quarter. Woodland Hills is up 21-0. Matheny back to pass, looks left, throws left, and the pass intended for the receiver, number 24, Danny Emma, is incomplete on the coverage for the Wolverines. Trevon Mathis. Mathis nearly picked that one off.
Yeah, and if Mathis picks that off, he is going into the end zone because there was nobody in front of him. He actually made a great play, actually read the quarterback's eyes, slipped in underneath the pass, and broke it up for the Woodland Hills Wolverines. Second
and 10 for Woodland Hills after the Matheny incompletion. Bethel Park's offense has been on the field for a while now, facing this 2nd down and 10 now. Matheny, hard count, hands off, and the tailback slides through the first wave of Wolverine tacklers, and that ball carrier, number 21, Gary Gerst, picks up a handful of yards up to the 36-yard line, and it's 3rd down and 5.
Yeah, that was definitely an excellent individual effort by Gerst on that play. He was able to elude one Woodland Hills defender and get himself a good 5-yard gain. You know, we'll have to see what Bethel Park can dial up on this 3rd down.
Blackhawks have had one decent opportunity to score thus far today, and that was a missed field goal, a 42-yard field goal attempt for the Blackhawks. Pistol formation for Matheny. Sidecars to his right. Matheny running the option. Gets the pitch off to Gerst, and Gerst is brought down well shy of the 1st down marker. Tackle made by Alex Beasley. We're going to have a flag come in from a mile away. And let's see what this penalty is. So it's just a personal foul. The official does not explain what it was. And let's take a look on the TV replay if we can see what happened. Bruce Curry, incidentally, was the guilty party. So we saw Curry get whistled or have his number called over to the far sideline. The only thing I saw was that Alex Beasley had his hand on the helmet of the ball carrier, Gerst. I don't think the helmet is part of the face mask, and that's the only thing I could think of that would have been a penalty.
Now, what I saw at the end of that play was there was a body down at the end of the play, which probably would indicate a late hit or an illegal hit.
So Bethel Park with the football, 1st and 10 at the 48 after that carry by Gerst. Pressure on Matheny. Now he's going to throw, and it is a wounded duck that's going to hop just shy of the 25-yard line. Back deep and wide open was Avery Dibble, but Dibble finally was covered by Latal Brimage. But so much pressure on the quarterback, Matheny.
Wide open might be the understatement of the day. I mean, there was nobody around him. Brimage actually fell down about the 35-yard line, which gave Dibble plenty of room, just to be by himself. Unfortunately, Matheny didn't see him, and fortunately for the Wolverines, it was just an incomplete pass.
2 men in motion. How did the officials not see that? Are you kidding me? So Bethel Park's going to get the benefit of a timeout here, even though the fullback went in motion forward and a receiver was motioning from right to left. So Bethel Park gets that timeout, and we're going to take a break as well. You're tuned into the Wolverines and the Blackhawks on the Woodland Hills Football Network. Second down and 10 for Bethel Park. And Bethel Park's going to run the football here on 2nd down and 10. Gain of 2 brings up 3rd down. Gary Gerst, the ball carrier, on that 2-yard carry.
And Woodland Hills just needs to dial up some pressure on this 3rd down. This is definitely a passing situation for Bethel Park. As soon as hopefully they would like to get enough pressure on the quarterback to hopefully force a 4th down and get the special teams back on the field.
Shotgun formation for Matheny. And he will step up as he was pressured in the backfield. He steps forward and is brought down after a modest gain of 2, bringing up 4th down and 6. At the 43-yard line, fans, we apologize for the technical difficulties. We're trying to fix those as soon as we can, both on radio and television.
It was a good job by Kevin Solomon to shed his blocker, and then bring down the quarterback for a 4th down and get the special teams on the field.
So Woodland Hills calls a timeout. We'll take a break as well. You're tuned into the Wolverines and the Blackhawks on the Woodland Hills Football Network. Woodland Hills with a 21-0 lead over the Bethel Park Blackhawks. 7:10 to play here in the second quarter. Bethel Park facing a 4th down and 6. Punt unit is on. Matheny is the punter. The deep man is Harry Randall. And the snap is true to Matheny, and he will step into this one, and this is going to go end over end and take a Woodland Hills bounce at the 14-yard line, and we'll be down by the Blackhawks at the 16, bringing up 1st and 10 for Woodland Hills at that 16-yard line. So 7:01 to go here in the second quarter. Woodland Hills is up 21-0. First and 10 for the Wolverines at their own 16. $7:01 to go here in the second quarter, rather. Shotgun formation. Handoff will go to the freshman Sanders. And Sanders is brought down after a 3-yard gain up to the 19-yard line.
Hands off the number 33, Miles Sanders. Sanders works his way up there to the 24-yard line.
So Sanders, who started to tailback the first 2 weeks of the season, coming in to spell Randall here today, and he picks up 3 yards on that one, bringing up 2nd down and 7.
That's what I like to see with Woodland Hills. They need to keep these running backs fresh, especially with Harry Randall, Alex Beasley, Daquan White. They're all playing both ways. So, getting the freshman Sanders a little bit of playing time is definitely a good thing.
Cody McClellan was going to keep this one off of a play action to Harry Randall, and McClellan is forced out of bounds along the near sideline, close to 1st down yardage. It depends on where the official along this near boundary spots it, and he will spot it at the 25-yard line. So a pickup of 6 for Cody.
Yeah, I'm not sure if that was actually a design run or Cody McClellan actually read the defensive end on that right side and saw that he was coming upfield, decided to pull the ball out and get close to 1st down yardage.
2 yards now on the ground for Cody McClellan. His first carry was a rush for -4 yards. Shotgun again, sidecar to either side. Handoff goes to Harry Randall. He slides through the first unit of tacklers and is brought down after picking up big yardage there to the 36-yard line. Woodland Hills needed 1. They got 11.
Yeah, you can't give Harry Randall an inch, especially when he's running the ball. He'll find the slightest crease and exploit it like he did on that last play for the 1st down.
.5:52 to play here in the second quarter. Woodland Hills leads Bethel Park 21-0. Shotgun formation, double tight ends. McClellan rolls to his right, feels pressure, steps around it, finds a wide open receiver over the middle, but the pass was short. Looking for the tight end, Harry Randall was, and Malik Partlow was open, but the pass was short. And that is probably the worst pass we've seen from Cody all season, and saying that is not an understatement, Fred. I mean, he has been spot on all year long.
Yeah, he has. On that last play, he saw Tom Green downfield, but he was covered, and he was unable to get the ball to him. And by the time he tried to set his feet, he was already in his throwing motion, and that's what actually – he couldn't set his feet to get a good delivery, which caused the ball to be short-hopped.
And McClellan throws to his right, and he finds a receiver at the 50-yard line. It's Trevon Mathis on that reception. All the way up to the 50-yard line. 14-yard pass there to Trevon Mathis.
Yeah, just as I say that about his feet. Cody took the snap, Cody McClellan was able to set his feet, make a strong delivery to Trevon Mathis for a 1st down at midfield.
Handoff this time to Harry Randall, and he is off to the races. 35-30, 25-20, and brought down along the near boundary inside of the 15-yard line. And Trevon Mathis saw Randall breaking loose and told Harry, come with me. And he sure did. And off to the races, Harry Randall went for a 35-yard gain from the midfield stripe to the 15.
Yeah, Harry Randall's making a habit of taking that ball to the right side, finding the crease on the backside, and then just flat out just taking the ball down the field, picking up some good blocks down the field from Trayvon Mathis, and putting Woodland Hills inside the red zone.
McClellan in the shotgun again. 1st and 10 for Woodland Hills at the 15. Cody feels pressure, looks right, throws right. And the pass intended for Khalil Harper sails through the back of the end zone, and it is 2nd down and 10, a rare incompletion for McClellan.
Yeah, he just put a little bit too much air underneath that pass. There's obviously not a lot of room at the back of the end zone here at the Wolverina, but it was a nice, strong delivery by Cody McClellan, just a little bit off target right now.
So Woodland Hills faces a 2nd down and 10 at the 15-yard line. 5 minutes to play exactly here in the second quarter. Adam Gusky and Fred Guy on the call for you all across the Woodland Hills Football Network. McClellan in the shotgun, sidecars to either side. Cody back to pass, rolls right, throws right. Looking for a Woodland Hills receiver, Chris David, and David leaps over the Bethel Park D-back who was guilty of pass interference. The flag flies. It will be declined, and it is a Woodland Hills TD. 15-yarder from Cody McClellan to Chris David.
Just as we mentioned that Cody McClellan put a little bit too much on that last pass, this pass was actually perfect. He was able to give his receiver an opportunity to jump and get up, get over the defender. Great individual effort by Chris David to get up to get that ball for the touchdown.
So that pass interference against Bethel Park is declined, and Woodland Hills certainly will accept the touchdown. And it's 27-0, and Donald Cassidy is on to try to make it 28-0 for the Wolverines. Cassidy boots into this one, and it's straight down the middle. And with 4:52 to play in the second quarter, the score, Woodland Hills 10, Bethel Park 0. You're tuned into the Wolverines and the Blackhawks on the Woodland Hills Football Network.
My fault.
It happened. Arena where Woodland Hills leads Bethel Park 28-0. Another touchdown pass for the Black and Turquoise. This time a 15-yard TD from Cody McClellan to a new target, Chris David. And the Wolverines have connected on touchdowns to 4 different wide receivers.
Yeah, it's good to see that Cody McClellan's using an array of receivers. You don't want to burn any one person out, like we saw in the first couple games where they had problems with cramps. It just looks like Woodland Hills is finding these open receivers and getting everybody a chance to score some touchdowns.
And there was a penalty on that pass interference. It will be enforced on the kickoff. I'm not quite sure that this is the proper way of doing things, but either way, it benefits Woodland Hills, so I'm not going to complain at this point. Woodland Hills will be kicking off after the pass interference penalty from the Bethel Park 45, and Cassidy will boot into this one. It'll carry into the end zone for a touchback. It'll be 1st and 10 for Woodland Hills at the 20-yard line. So 4:52 to go here in the second quarter. Bethel Park with the ball at their own 20. Blackhawks out of the huddle, facing a 1st down and 10 from their own 20-yard line. Matheny looks left, throws left, and the pass is complete to Avery Dibble. Dibble, who had a 69-yard reception in the first half, catches that one for a gain of 7, bringing up 2nd down and 3.
That was a great recovery by Trayvon Mathis. Dibble was able to run him off a couple yards, but as soon as that ball was caught, Trayvon Mathis was right in his face mask to make that tackle.
This time the Blackhawks look to go to the ground. The ball comes loose. Harry Randall picks it up, and he's going to go to the house for a Woodland Hills TD. Bethel Park's ball carrier coughed the football up just before going to the artificial surface. Harry Randall, Johnny on the spot, picked up the loose ball and took it to the house, and Woodland Hills is up 34-zip.
Yeah, and that fumble was forced by a mixture of two Wolverines, one being Bruce Curry, who was dragging down the defender as he came through.
Trevon Mathis came in and made the hit.
That was my second. That
There
was
you
my
go.
second. That was the second person I was just about to give some credit to, was Trayvon Mathis, because he came up and made an outstanding hit on the ball carrier to force that fumble.
Just holding up the number 3 for you, Fred. Just hoping you were able to see. You got better eyes than me at this point. And the kick is up and in for Donald Cassidy. And with 4:07 to go in the second quarter, Woodland Hills is up 35-0. And if this score holds up to the second half, we go to the modified timekeeping system, but that's something we have to worry about in about 4 minutes. Again, Woodland Hills 35, Bethel Park 0. You're tuned into the Wolverines and the Blackhawks on the Woodland Hills Football Network. Has been an offensive spark plug thus far today, but hadn't scored, but now he does, and it's on the defensive end of the football. Bethel Park running the ball on second down and short, and Trevon Mathis came up and put a licking on the Blackhawk ball carrier, and when the ball came loose, Harry Randall was there to pick it up and take it into the end zone for a 28-yard Woodland Hills, or a 27-yard Woodland Hills TD rather. Donald Cassidy on the ensuing kickoff boots it down inside of the Bethel Park 10-yard line, where it's returned by Alexander Minton, and Minton is brought down at the 23-yard line, or rather the 24, where it will be 1st and 10 for Bethel Park.
Yeah, and that tackle was made by Dante Brodus, number 21, who's actually been having a pretty solid season in terms of special teams plays and special teams tackles this year.
First and 10 for Bethel Park, ball at their own 24. This time the ball carrier is number 2, Alexander Minton, and Minton is brought down, picking up 10 yards and a Bethel Park first down.
And Woodland Hills was late getting a defender onto the field on that last play. Fortunate for Bethel Park, they were able to run towards the player that came on late and was able to get a first down on that last play.
So 1st and 10 for Bethel Park. Ball is at the 34-yard line. Again, it is Minton carrying the football, and it's brought down after a gain of 1. Tackle on the play made by Jordan Barnes for the Wolverines.
Also in on that play was Deshaun Ashbrooks, and he actually made a great play in the backfield on that. He read that perfectly and made a beeline for the running back in the backfield on that last play.
Yeah, Osbrooks got the ankles, and ultimately the tackle was made, but you're right, Fred. It was Deshaun Osbrooks who made the majority of that defensive play. And a timeout is called by Bethel Park here. And it's a false start against Bethel Park. That's going to march them back 5 yards. And it'll bring up 2nd down and 14 back at the 30. .304 to go as the clock rolls here in the second quarter. Woodland Hills leads Bethel Park 35-0. Shotgun formation for the Blackhawks. Sidecar to the left of Matheny and the freshman QB. 2 receivers left, 1 to the near side right. Play action. Matheny, he's pressured, rolls to his left, dumps it off. He'll find his tight end in the flats, and that tight end is banged around and brought down after a gain of about 2 on that play. Thomas Ernst certainly paid the price for catching that football, Fred.
Yeah, he did, and I'm absolutely speechless right now because I just watched Bruce Curry get held in the backfield, and there was not a flag anywhere on the field. And he's the person that forced, Matheny to roll out to his left. You know, he made a good pass on the run, but I'm really surprised that Woodland Hills didn't get the benefit of the holding call on that last play.
Ryan Sosnack, number 71, just grabbed Curry's jersey and held on for dear life, and that's all that prevented the sack on that previous play. And I think Bethel Park has asked for a timeout. And it is the Blackhawks taking the timeout with 2:01 to play here in the second quarter. The score, Woodland Hills 35, Bethel Park 0. You're tuned into the Wolverines and the Blackhawks on the Woodland Hills Football Network.
telecast can be seen on Monroeville.
Woodland Hills students across the far sideline. Woodland Hills leads Bethel Park 35-0 with 2:01 to play here in the second quarter. Adam Gusky and Fred Guy on the call for you here on the Woodland Hills Football Network. And Fred, the Wolverines are well on their way to their first conference victory of the season.
Yeah, like I said earlier, they're playing well in all facets of the game, offensively, defensively, and on special teams.
Screen pass here for the Blackhawks, and there was some room there momentarily for Zach Enick, but Enick was brought down shy of the first down marker at the 41-yard line. The Wolverines were sucked in there on the screen pass, much like the Blackhawks were earlier in this football game. But Woodland Hills, with their speed and athleticism, recovered quickly, and it ended up being about a 10-yard gain on that play.
Yeah, Matheny made I'm going to call it a strange rollout on that last play. I mean, he was able to get the ball high enough and over the defensive lineman to.
Woodland Hills, that is their second timeout.
So Woodland Hills will take a timeout here. I don't think they had all of the people they wanted out there. Fred, let you finish your point before we get a break.
Yeah, he just jumped. He actually made a jump pass, which I haven't seen in a long time, especially in the high school level. But he made a strange rollout, was able to get the ball up over the Woodland Hills defenders and get the ball completed to his running back.
Well, we are actually going to keep it here. I'd like to thank one of our sponsors, Boss Opticians in Braddock, your one-stop optical shop. And fans tuned in on the Woodland Hills Football Network, whether it's on the TV or the radio side, we thank you for joining us with 1:27 to play here. Woodland Hills with this 35-0 lead. And Fred, it's been all Woodland Hills basically since the third drive of the football game. The Wolverines got that offense rolling and have never looked back.
Yeah, and after that 69-yard long pass to the wideout for Bethel Park, they were able to hold them on defense there, and they haven't looked back since. They're doing great offensively, passing the ball and running the ball, and using a good mixture to keep Bethel Park off balance.
So Matheny is back there to punt it away for Bethel Park. And this is going to be a short kick that takes a Blackhawk bounce for a moment, but then the ball bounces back in favor of the Wolverines, where it's finally down by a Blackhawk at the 39-yard line, where it's going to be first down and 10 for the Wolverines.
Yeah, when we say everything's going Woodland Hills' way, that's exactly what we mean. Offensively, they're doing great. Special teams, they're getting the benefit of, good bounces in the punt game and good bounces in the punt return game as well.
39-yard line is the line of scrimmage for Woodland Hills as they have the ball. And with 1:17 to play. See if the Wolverines go to the air here, or if they return to the ground game. And it will be a handoff to Miles Sanders, the freshman. The freshman will pound his way forward, crossing the 40 to the 42-yard line. It's a gain of 3 for Miles Sanders.
I think Woodland Hills right now is probably not going to do anything fancy as they're going into the locker room. They're just going to run out the clock, keep the ball on the ground, keep the ball in their possession so they can get to the halftime with this good 35-0 lead.
And as we said, when Woodland Hills scored the 35th point in the game, once the second half begins with a 35-point lead, we go into the modified timekeeping system, and we'll go over that once the second half begins to explain to our listeners and viewers all about what that entails. Shotgun formation, Tony McClellan, sidecars to either side. 30 seconds to go here as he hands off to Daquan White, who bounces it to the near sideline, has first down yardage and more inside of Bethel Park territory to the 41-yard line. A nice pickup there of 17 yards.
Yeah, and a lot of that credit on that run, besides Daquan White, is going to go to Tom Green, who made some excellent blocking downfield to spring Daquan White for that first down run.
So now they move the ball up to the 40-yard line. Initially, the spot was the 41. So Daquan White, 2 carries, 34 yards today. One for 16 yards, the other for 18. And that will be the final play of the half, as we are under 5 seconds to go here, and the Wolverines have yet to come out of the huddle. Again, your halftime score, it's Woodland Hills 35, Bethel Park 0. And it's been all Woodland Hills since they got the ball at their own 20-yard line with 4:47 to go in the first quarter. The Wolverines turned that into their first touchdown of the game, and they haven't even looked in the rearview mirror because all they would have seen was Bethel Park.
Yeah, they're doing a great job. I'm really surprised that they haven't run the ball a little bit more, especially down in the red zone, because I know that's what Coach Novak likes. But Cody McClellan's doing a great job finding different receivers and spreading the ball around to get these guys some touchdowns.
Well, folks, on the radio side, stay tuned for the Woodland Hills Football Network halftime show. On the TV side, we will be back with the second half right here on the Woodland Hills Football Network. Arena, Woodland Hills with a halftime lead of 35-0 over the Bethel Park Blackhawks. I'm Adam Gusky. To my right is Fred Guy. And Woodland Hills, Fred, came out in the first half, had a little bit of a slow start offensively, got their feet underneath them with Harry Randall, and haven't looked back since, taking a 35-0 lead into the locker room.
Yeah, those first couple drives were just working out the kinks and getting still used to this offense that they've instituted it last week. But so far, after that third drive, they seem to be getting a good grasp of the situation and, looking for and they're seeing and getting the yards that they need to make themselves successful.
Folks tuned in on the radio side were able to hear this already, but Fred, let's talk a little bit about Harry Randall and what a spark he's been to the Woodland Hills offensive attack. 67 yards on the ground. He's also been able to catch one pass for 7 yards, and he also has a fumble return for a touchdown today. Having Harry Randall back in the lineup sure has helped the Black and Turquoise.
That has. Like I said before, he's also brought a spark to the team. He's a special teams demon. He does great things on offense and defense with that fumble recovery, but his presence brings the Woodland Hills Wolverines alive that I've seen so far today.
Well, Woodland Hills will get the ball to begin the second half, and we will also be in the modified timekeeping system. Basically, that means that outside of change of possessions and timeouts and penalties, the clock will run basically nonstop through this second half, and that is certainly to help get things moving when a game is out of reach, much like this one is with a 35-0 Woodland Hills lead.
Yeah, and it goes to show good sportsmanship as well, because you don't really want to rub it into an opponent's face, especially if they're not having a good game and you're on top of yours. You don't want to just, rub it in and keep putting them down, so to speak.
Talk around the press box at halftime is nobody expected this. Woodland Hills just came out and put the pedal to the metal.
Yeah, and certainly on paper, Bethel Park, the Blackhawks have had a good season so far. With a good victory against Plum, they scored 55 points. Had a little bit of a setback last week, but that was probably due to a mixture of some penalties and some unfortunate calls for the Blackhawks.
Want to send a special hello to Candace Barnes, mother of Woodland Hills offensive lineman Jordan Barnes. She has worked for the Boosters every game for the past 3 seasons, but is not here tonight. She is ill, so everybody with the Booster Club wanted to send you a special hello. And speaking of the Woodland Hills Football Boosters Association, they are teaming up with the school district as part of Wolverines Care, and they are taking part in the first annual Toys for Tots Stuff-A-Bus toy drive up at the Walmart in North for Sales. And you bring your toys down to the Wolverina, they'll take them up to the Stuff-A-Bus location and help put some smiles on some faces of some kids this upcoming holiday season. Bethel Park kicks off to begin the second half, and Harry Randall with a jetpack on his back looked to be off to the races momentarily, but was brought down at the 25-yard line. It'll be first down and 10 for Bethel Park there.
Yeah, if it wasn't for Cody Gilchrist, number 5 for Bethel Park, Harry Randall standing in the end zone right now. He made a great job just to get his arm wrapped around his leg momentarily to bring Harry Randall down at the 25.
So 11:37 to go as the clock is running here in the third quarter. Cody McClellan in the shotgun, sidecars to either side, hands off to Harry Randall. Dances around momentarily, gets his way back to the line of scrimmage, picks up about a yard. Then he's brought down by a host of white jerseys, and the score, Woodland Hills 35, Bethel Park 0. The clock continues to roll as the Wolverines face a 2nd and 9.
It's good pressure by the Bethel Park defensive line on that last play. What they need to do right now is contain Harry Randall. Make sure he doesn't get to the outsides. And then when he does, if he does decide to keep the ball up the middle, make sure they're cutting off that backside so he doesn't slip through anything and get some long yardage.
Cody McClellan with a lateral pass to Randall. He slides through tacklers at the line of scrimmage and is brought down as he crosses the 30 to the 31-yard line. 5-yard gain brings up 3rd down and 4.
Yeah, that's a great individual effort by Harry Randall. He was actually pretty much dead to rights in the backfield. There was a couple Black Hawk defenders that had him trapped. He saw just a slight crease and was able to exploit it for, looks like a 5-yard gain.
Back to passes McClellan. He looks left, throws left, and it is incomplete, intended for Tom Green. Just the 5th incompletion on the day for Cody McClellan. Through the first half, Cody 8 of 12 for 206 yards and 4 touchdowns.
That's a good job by the Black Hawk defense to come out and stop this potent Woodland Hills offense that has up to this point been able to move the ball up and down the field at will.
So the Wolverines bring on the punt unit. Harry Randall will run to his right and punt it away. Knuckling punt takes a Woodland Hills bounce inside of Bethel Park territory at the 39, and it'll be downed by Chris David at the 35-yard line, where it'll be first down in for Woodland Hills. Not a bad punt there for Randall, covering about 45 yards.
Yeah, if Bethel Park's going to want to try to get back into this game, they're going to have to go to the air. I mean, they were successful in a couple plays in the first half through the air. And there was one play I distinctly remember is the quarterback didn't see a wide open receiver down in the middle of the field that probably could have changed the game for the Blackhawks.
High backfield behind the freshman quarterback Matheny. Handoff will go to the fullback, and he is banged around right around the line of scrimmage. John Mascaro will pick up 2 yards before being shoved back by a host of black jerseys.
And when you say host, there was 9 of the 11 Wolverines were actually in on that tackle. There were 2 guys that were necessarily standing around the pile, but you know they did their part. Woodland Hills did their part, and it's a good play for the Wolverines.
Matheny under center eye backfield. 1 receiver to either side. He sends a man in motion from right to left. Matheny rolls left, throws left, finds a receiver across the middle, and that was the motion man. It will be brought down inside of Woodland Hills territory, and man, those Wolverines are still hitting. A nice pickup there for Bethel Park from their own 38 into Woodland Hills territory to the 45.
Yeah, Woodland Hills understands that despite being up 35-0, anything could happen, and they're being Woodland Hills is keeping their first team defense on the field for the moment, which is a good thing because like we said, Bethel Park, they're able to throw if they're able to throw the ball and make some connections, they can get back into this game pretty quickly.
Matheny sends the fullback in crabbing motion from left to right. Matheny off of play action will dump it off to his tight end, and he is met after crossing the line of scrimmage by Harry Randall. And Thomas Ernst, his 2nd reception of the game, this time covering 3 yards. So 2 catches today for Ernst, covering a total of 5 yards, and he was hit hard on both occasions.
Yeah, it looks like that play was just a little bit of a slip out by the tight end. He held his block for a second and got himself into the flats, but great presence of mind of Harry Randall to come up and make a good tackle.
2nd and 7 at the 42. Bethel Park sends a man in motion, and then he reverses that motion, and then Bethel Park calls the timeout. So we'll take a break as well. 35-0, Woodland Hills with the advantage. You're tuned into the Wolverines and the Blackhawks on the Woodland Hills Football Network. 7:14 to play in the 3rd quarter. Bethel Park with the ball, 2nd and 7 at the Woodland Hills 42. Draw handoff for the Blackhawks. Zach Enick, the ball carrier. He'll pick up about 3 to the Woodland Hills 39 before being banged down by the Wolverines.
Bethel Park just decided to run just a quick counter with Enick. Didn't really see much. The Woodland Hills had that very well defended, especially with Alex Beasley. He seems to be making every tackle for the Wolverines, and he's doing a great job tonight.
So Matheny now in the shotgun with a sidecar to his left in Gary Gerst. Gerst, who had a fumble in the first half that turned into a Woodland Hills touchdown. Matheny pressure, looks left, throws left. Matheny took a pounding but was able to find his tight end for a Bethel Park first down to the 34-yard line. Third reception of the game for Thomas Ernst. And that covers 5 yards, and it's 1st and 10 for Bethel Park at the Woodland Hills 34.
Bethel Park is they're actually very successful using that little little tight end out off of the delay block. Woodland Hills isn't picking it up fast enough, and the result is a first down for Bethel Park.
High backfield for Bethel Park. They send a man in motion from right to left. Matheny off of play action, rolls left, looks left, throws left, and that pass is incomplete. And the freshman southpaw, his first incomplete pass of the second half. As a matter of fact, Matheny has completed 6 straight passes before that incompletion.
It was a good job by Bruce Curry and Alex Beasley providing the pressure on the backside because what I saw was the tight end for Bethel Park coming across the middle of the field wide open. If Matheny had a chance to set his feet and get the ball to his tight end, that's probably another first down for Bethel Park.
And the Blackhawks, 12 men in the huddle. They run one off. They're not allowed to have 12 men in the huddle. Woodland Hills was flagged for that in the first half. Bethel Park not here in the second. Matheny, little misdirection screen, and the Wolverines saw that one coming from a mile away. Jawan Turner was standing there waiting for the ball to be caught by Gary Gerst. Gerst caught it, and climbing up his backside was 6 feet and 260 pounds of Jawan Turner.
Yeah, Jawan Turner just stayed home. He had a good presence of mind not to go anywhere after he saw his the offensive lineman going downfield or letting him through. And that's actually a good tackle for a loss for a defensive lineman.
So that is a minus 5-yard reception for the Blackhawks. And it's 3rd down and 15 for Bethel Park at the Woodland Hills 39. 4 minutes and 20 seconds to play here in the third quarter. Shotgun formation for Bethel Park. Matheny. Back to pass, looks to go deep, and it is tipped away from Avery Dibble, and Dibble is hurt. Dibble got hit after the pass, went through his hands by Trevon Mathis. Dibble is hurt, a flag flies, and it was a blow to the head, but it certainly didn't look like there was any malicious intent by Trevon Mathis there, Fred.
I think he's actually going to get flagged for the celebration after the hit.
That's a different story.
Yeah.
See what the officials have to say.
Personal foul against the defense. Unnecessary hit to a defenseless player. Be a 15-yard penalty.
Well, Fred, I played football. You played football. I'm sure both of us have a similar opinion of the defenseless player protection rules. But taking a look at this pass here, Matheny looking for the receiver there. And Avery Dibble had his hands on the football and was hit with his hands on the football by Trevon Mathis. So if Trevon Mathis doesn't make that hit and Avery Dibble catches the football, basically he gets to run into the end zone unscathed.
Yeah, and it didn't look like it was a malicious helmet-to-helmet hit. It looked like Trayvon Mathis caught him right in the chest with his shoulder pad. So it didn't look like there was any intent to injure another player.
Folks on our television side are really getting to see a great replay here, as it was absolutely Trevon Mathis just putting his shoulder into the chest of Avery Dibble to force that incompletion. Dibble was able to sit up here, and as he continues to gather his bearings. Take this opportunity to thank some of our sponsors, including Triangle Bar and Grill in Swissvale, the Triangle, home of the Battleship, the sandwich that made Swissvale famous. Call 412-271-9885 to place your order. Of course, that's always part of our halftime hospitality up here in the press box. And Round of applause you hear is because Avery Dibble is able to get to his feet. It's good to see the young man able to walk off under his own power. You know, on one hand, certainly I think it's terrific to protect these athletes at all levels, whether it's, you know, the youth football players, high school, college, or in the NFL. But on the same token, a penalty like that, all it does is discourage a player like Trevon Mathis from trying to separate the football from the receiver.
Yeah, and you know, as a defensive player, that's your job. That's what you're supposed to do. You know, that's how you win games or lose games for that matter. So I mean, I don't think there was anything wrong with that hit. I'm glad everybody's okay, and hopefully, you know, the rest of the game goes on without anything like that.
Clock rolling under 4 minutes here as Matheny hands off on a draw, and the Blackhawks carry that ball inside of the 15 to the 13-yard line. Minton, the ball carrier for Bethel Park. 11-yard gain on that one. And Minton, 3 carries, 22 yards today. Been one of the most successful offensive weapons outside of the QB Matheny.
First down, Bethel Park.
Blackhawks with an I formation behind Matheny. Send a man in motion from right to left. Oh, ball carrier there is Alexander Minton. And boy, did he pay the price. He got a mouthful of a Woodland Hills defensive lineman, and I do believe it was Jawan Turner who just came in there and absolutely tattooed Minton.
You're right, that was Jawan Turner, and he just shedded his blocker, got rid of him, got in the face of Minton, and that just goes to show you that hit that Trayvon Mathis put on, Dibble, has not affected the Woodland Hills defense one bit.
3-yard loss on that play for Minton. 4 carries, 19 yards for the Bethel Park tailback. Blackhawks offset I. Now the fullback Krabs motion. Hand off to Minton again. And again he is hit hard. First player to the ball carrier was wrapping him up. And the second player, Harry Randall, put a licking on Minton again. Beasley was the first player in on that play. No gain on the play. Brings up 3rd down and 13.
You know, when we mentioned earlier in the telecast, the offensive linemen for Bethel Park, you know, they're 2 300-pound, you know, offensive linemen, and they've actually been largely ineffective today. The Woodland Hills defensive line and linebackers have been putting a tremendous amount of pressures on the quarterback and running backs and making some good tackles in the backfield for some losses.
Big left tackle is really a great physical specimen, if nothing else. Rolling to the left is Matheny trying to connect with Danny Emma, and the pass incomplete to Emma. Emma, who has 1 reception on the day, couldn't hang on to that one, and Bethel Park faces a 4th down and 13 from the 17-yard line. Bethel Park contemplating a field goal, and they will run out the offense instead as Matheny comes back out onto the field with 1:11 to go here in the 3rd quarter. We are still under the modified timekeeping system as Woodland Hills has this 35-0 lead that they took into the locker room. Matheny shotgun sidecar left, 3 receivers left, 1 to the far boundary right. Matheny back to pass, feels pressure, throws it across the middle, and a diving touchdown reception there. How about that? Cody Gilchrist laid out and caught that one at the goal line and sailed into the end zone for the 13-yard BPTD.
Yeah, excellent catch by Gilchrist. I mean, he just laid flat out for that ball. Matheny put it in a place where the defender couldn't get it, and only his wide receiver could haul it in for the touchdown.
Matheny 120 yards in the air, and that is his first touchdown pass. On to attempt the point after touchdown is Danny Christensen, who missed a field goal in the first half. And this PAT is good, and with 53 seconds to play in the 3rd quarter, the scoreboard reads Woodland Hills 35, Bethel Park 7. You're tuned into the Wolverines and the Blackhawks on the Woodland Hills Football Network. 35-7 now, Woodland Hills with the advantage over Bethel Park. Bethel Park on 4th down and 13 from the 17-yard line. And they connect on a touchdown pass from Matheny to Cody Gilchrist, and Gilchrist absolutely laid up out for this one. Leaped from the 2, was parallel to the ground, was able to hold on to it and sail into the end zone for the first points of the game for Bethel Park.
Yeah, excellent concentration by Gilchrist to keep it, hold on to the ball as he's coming to the ground and complete that touchdown.
And this ball will bounce to the 8-yard line where it is scooped up by a Woodland Hills return man, and that return man is then undercut back inside of the 10-yard line. Harry Randall not able to do much with it. Bethel Park looks like a new football team here in the second half, Fred.
Yeah, it was a good stop that they had coming out of the halftime by the Bethel Park defense to, get the ball back, take some time off the clock, even though they're in a modified timekeeping format. They did a great job on 4th down with that touchdown pass, but even still, they're finding ways to move the ball down the field.
Woodland Hills with the ball 1st and 10 at their own 9-yard line. The clock has started to roll, and Woodland Hills will probably get one play in here in the 3rd quarter. There's Cody McClellan again in the shotgun sidecar to his right. One tight end to his left, and 2 receivers to the left as well. McClellan hands off, and the ball carrier will be brought down as he crosses the 15 to the 17-yard line. Harry Randall, the ball carrier on that one, and that will be the final play of the 3rd quarter. Woodland Hills heads into the 4th frame with a 28-point lead, 35-7. You're tuned into the Wolverines and the Blackhawks on the Woodland Hills Football Network. We welcome you back to the Wolverina where Woodland Hills leads Bethel Park 35-7. Set to begin the 4th quarter. We are still under the modified time-keeping format. Woodland Hills with the ball 2nd and 2 at the 17-yard line. And thank you for tuning in. No matter where you are across the Woodland Hills Football Network, whether it's on our flagship radio station, AM 1550 WLFP, on the web at 1550WLFP.com, or on the web at msasports.net, as well as woodlandhillsfootballnetwork.com. And as always, we have our television coverage on Monroeville Comcast Cable Channels 4 and 13, Penn Hills Comcast Cable Channel 98, and Verizon Fios Channel 37. Fred, Bethel Park got some things going here in the second half, and this is more of the Blackhawk team we were expecting coming into today.
Yeah, they're taking advantage of a good defensive stand to come out of the halftime, and also an excellent catch by Gilchrist for that touchdown, and just a perfect catch, toss and catch for Bethel Park.
Harry Randall, the ball carrier on 2nd down and 2. He has 1st down yardage, and Morey's finally brought down as he crosses the 25 to the 26-yard line. 9-yard pickup for Harry Randall, and he now has 90 yards on the ground. Harry Randall, with this 90 yards, has eclipsed the Woodland Hills offensive rushing totals for the first 2 games himself.
Yeah, he's doing a great job. I mean, he also along with that, he's just finding ways to get some extra yardage. He's cutting, slashing, diving, doing whatever he needs to do to get these first downs.
Woodland Hills with a total of 110 yards of rushing through the first 2 games. Harry Randall has 90 thus far tonight. Make it more as Harry Randall is off to the races again, picking up 15-plus yards to the 45-yard line.
Yeah, just another excellent job by the Woodland Hills offensive line, giving Harry Randall these creases that he is just, full speed ahead for him. I mean, he's not stopping. They're not slowing him down. He's doing a great job tonight.
109 yards on the ground now for Harry Randall after picking up 19 there. So the first 100-yard rusher of the season comes in game number 3 for the Black and Turquoise. McClellan in the shotgun sidecar to his left, receivers to either side, tight end to the left of Cody as well. He'll hand off. Randall has room over right tackle again. And he is brought down inside of Blackhawk territory at the 48-yard line, a pickup of 7 yards.
Again, another gaping hole for Harry Randall on that last play, and he is just he's not slowing down at all. He's seeing in that crease, and he's just right in there, getting some good yardage, keeping the ball in Woodland Hills' possession, hopefully for the rest of the game.
Well, Randall's making a great decision running behind Jawan Turner, as well as big number 61, Jake Cassidy, the 6-foot sophomore, weighing in at 280 pounds. McClellan hands off, actually knows play action to Randall. Rolling to his left is McClellan, and he'll look for Tom Green, and that pass is incomplete. Clock will continue to roll. McClellan has looked to the air twice thus far today, and both in the second half, rather, and both times has come up empty. Thus far today, Cody McClellan is 8 of 14 for 206 yards and 4 touchdowns.
As a first-year starter, first-year full-time starter, I should say, Cody McClellan is just showing a lot of command back there. He's able to get his feet set. The offensive line's giving him good time to get through his progressions, make his reads, and make a smart throw.
Clock continues to roll on a rainy Friday evening in western Pennsylvania. Woodland Hills with a 35-7 lead over Bethel Park. Cody McClellan in the shotgun, hands off to Harry Randall. He'll dance his way forward across the line of scrimmage, picking up about a yard. That'll bring up 4th down and 2.
That's probably the first or second time that Bethel Park's defense has been able to corral Harry Randall. It was a good job by the entire defense to, they've been keeping Woodland Hills off beat in the second half. And, they've been taking advantage of, change of possessions and, other miscues by the Woodland Hills offense.
Randall on the punt for Woodland Hills. Back deep to return for the Blackhawks is Gary Gerst. Harry Randall will kick this end-over-end punt. It'll take a huge Woodland Hills bounce and will roll out of bounds along that far boundary at the 7-yard line. And Harry Randall, yet again with a pretty punt. He certainly gets that forward bounce on his punt when it comes down.
He does. He doesn't get any backspin at all. Anytime that ball bounces, it seems to be going forward every time. And I know we sound like a broken record when we mentioned Harry Randall, but folks, he's done an absolutely great job today, offensively, defensively, and on special teams.
So Woodland Hills, who took over 1st and 10 at their own 9-yard line on the previous drive, certainly reversed field position, even though they weren't able to score. Bethel Park now is 93 yards away from tightening this game up even more. 1st and 10 from the 7. Bethel Park with the ball headed left to right, wearing their road white uniforms. Woodland Hills home black jerseys, old school white pants here at the Wolverina. Matheny drops back, looks left, and the pass intended for number 24, Danny Emma, is incomplete. A late flag came in, and the pass interference certainly may be justified here, Fred, because one of the 2 defenders back there on Emma went right at Emma instead of for the football.
Pass interference against the defense. 15-yard penalty, automatic first down.
Well, the Woodland Hills fans don't like it, but I certainly do believe it was the right call.
Yeah, that penalty was called on Tom Green, and in my opinion, I thought he actually got there at the same time as the ball. He just made a nice push.
The issue is, Fred, he didn't turn around, and he really didn't play the football. He played the receiver.
That's true.
And I think that's why the officials blew, or threw the flag, rather.
Pitches the number 22, Keontae Pryor.
Keontae Pryor, the ball carrier for the first time today for Bethel Park, and he is brought down at the line of scrimmage for no gain.
Yeah, and those are the type of miscues that could hinder, a good performance by this Woodland Hills defense. I mean, they had that 4th down play on the last possession. It resulted in a touchdown that could easily have been defended. And another pass interference on defense. Hopefully just doesn't come back to bite them.
High backfield behind Matheny. Receivers to either side. Matheny looks left. The pass was tipped at the line of scrimmage. Making an adjustment was Danny Emma. Emma not able to pull it in, but he certainly reacted quickly to that tipped ball at the line of scrimmage, and nearly was able to pull that in and open the field.
And that's what Woodland Hills defensive linemen need. They need to get a couple more tip passes. The first 2 games against Upper St. Clair and McKeesport, the quarterbacks were having clear passing lanes to their receivers. And right now they're doing a great job. This is what they need to do going on forward to, get some more stops on 3rd down and 4th down.
Outside of Daniel Gibson, the Woodland Hills defensive line is not very tall, and I certainly think that hinders their ability to tip some passes. Woodland Hills was all over the play initially as the handoff to Zach Ennick seemed to initially look like a big loss for Bethel Park, but Ennick slipped through tacklers and was finally brought down, picking up nice yardage there. He picked up 8 or 9 of the 11 yards he needed, bringing up 4th down and 2 at the 31.
Yeah, Bethel Park just ran a nice draw play. They let the Woodland Hills defenders come upfield, and once he slipped past, he was able to almost get that first down.
And again, the ball carrier, this time on 4th down, he's able to pick up the first down to the 45. 4-yard gain on that play for Enick. Enick, who started off the game with the first carry of the game, now has 5 carries for 16 yards. .450 as the clock continues to roll here in the 4th quarter. Again, Bethel Park with 12 men in the huddle. How is that not a penalty? Now the Blackhawks take a timeout.
Timeout, Bethel Park.
You're tuned into the Wolverines and the Blackhawks on the Woodland Hills Football Network. And we welcome you back to the Wolverina. Bethel Park fans headed out of the stadium as Woodland Hills holds a 35-7 lead with 4.5 minutes to play here in the 4th quarter. Adam Gusky and Fred Guy on the call for you on the Woodland Hills Football Network. One back set behind Matheny as he motions a man from left to right. And flags fly before the snap. The officials will confer.
Foul. False start against the offense. 5-yard penalty. First down.
So first down and 15 now for Bethel Park as that ball is moved back to the 30-yard line. Again, under 4.5 minutes to go here as the clock is rolling in the modified time-keeping system. It's not even 9 o'clock, and we are well past the halfway point of the second half, or 4th quarter, rather. And that ball nearly intercepted. Laying out for that football was number 24 for both teams. The first one, Danny Emma for Bethel Park, and that was well out of his reach. The second number 24 was Chris David for Woodland Hills, and he had it in his hands. And when he hit the turf, the ball came loose incomplete.
Yeah, it was an excellent play by Chris David. The ball was slightly out of the reach of the receiver for Bethel Park, but Chris David had a good presence of mind to stick with the ball, and unfortunately he was unable to come up with that pass.
3:35 to go as the clock is still rolling here in the 4th quarter. Three receivers to the right, and it's a bubble screen to number 31, Zach Enick, and Enick picks up a couple yards. Wolverines were not fooled at all by that one, and a minimal gain of 3 yards brings up 3rd down and 12.
Yeah, the one thing I've noticed that the Wolverines are doing this year, as opposed to last year, and these games are a little bit out of hand, is they're actually keeping their first-team defense or first-team offense in the game. Last year they ran into a little bit of a problem against Pine Richland, where they actually had to play the entire game. The Wolverines are doing a great job this year, with the staffing that they have.
New quarterback in there for Bethel Park, and he will be sacked on his first play. Credit the sack for number 35, number 53 rather, Jawan Turner, as number 8, the new QB, Sean Seavey, was wrapped and brought down. Folks are tuned into the Woodland Hills Football Network pregame show, both on television and radio, especially on the TV side. Just saw Mike Breston, brother of Steve Breston. Of course, Steve with a great program providing iPads to students both at Woodland Hills and a high school out in the Kansas City area. We'll talk more about that after this play. Matheny boots this one away for the Blackhawks, and on the run is Harry Randall, who catches it, and Randall is actually brought down basically after running into his own man around the 34-yard line. It'll be 1st and 10 for Woodland Hills at the 33. And that iPad program that I talked about very quickly, Steve Breston, for every 100 yards he gets this season, is going to donate an iPad to a student at Woodland Hills High School and a student at a high school in Kansas City, Missouri. The students are going to have to submit an essay on how that iPad is going to help them academically, And one iPad, as I said, for every 100 yards of receiving Stevie has, will go to a deserving student. And it's great to see a former Wolverine giving back to his community.
Yeah, it's always great to see a Wolverine player that has gone on to the NFL give back to the place where he came from. That's basically what that's what charity is all about, especially at Woodland Hills. We like to take care of our own, so to speak, and Stevie's just doing a great job.
1:55 to play here in the fourth quarter. Woodland Hills with the ball. 1st and 10 at the 33-yard line. The officials initially spotted it at the 32. Wolverines called a timeout, and that was to bring in their second team.
First and 10 Wolverines, nose of the football, and coming for 33 yards.
Freshman reserve quarterback Jeremiah Jones will hand off, and he gives it off to number 30, Art Tompkins, who will ramble his way forward for a gain of about 2 to the 31-yard line. Clock rolling down near a minute and a half to go here in this one.
Yeah, at this point, Woodland Hills isn't going to do anything fancy. They're just going to keep the ball on the ground, run out the clock, secure a good victory and their first victory in the Southern Conference.
High backfield behind Jeremiah Jones. 2 receivers right, 1 to the near side left. Jones steps under center, hands off. Ball carrier this time is number 41, Jordan Lee, and Lee is forced down along the near boundary, near first down yardage.
Jones hands off the number 41, Jordan Lee.
Let's see where they spot this ball. And it will be at the 25-yard line, so a 6-yard pickup for Jordan Lee.
That was a good run by Jordan Lee. I believe that's his first carry of the season, and just stiffed arm a couple defenders, kept himself in bounds, and made a great play.
Lee has not had a carry yet this year. So Wolverines facing a 3rd and 2 at the 25-yard line of Bethel Park. Under 40 seconds to go here. Most likely this will be the last play of the football game. Jeremiah Jones under center. Hands off to the fullback. And that is Devin Nixon, who gets close to first down yardage, picking up about a 1-yard gain. 20 seconds to go here. And Woodland Hills will get their first victory in the Southeast Conference and their second victory of the year, a 35-7 win over the Bethel Park Blackhawks. Not much of the second half to speak of because of the modified timekeeping format. But the first half, it was all Woodland Hills from the 3rd drive of the game on. The black and turquoise pressed the gas pedal and never looked back.
Yeah, offensively, they showed a lot of explosiveness with Harry Randall, a lot of great passing by Cody McClellan. The receivers, all the receivers that caught touchdowns, were exceptional for those guys today. And that's what they need. They need more balance in their offense other than just Cody and Tom Green. With Harry Randall coming back, that's going to play a significant part for the rest of the season.
Again, the final score, Woodland Hills 35, Bethel Park 7. As you say, Fred, Harry Randall and Cody McClellan again combined for a terrific football game. Woodland Hills is now 1-1 in the Southeastern Conference, and they are 2-1 on the year. Bethel Park slips to 1-2 on the season. This their first conference loss of the year, and Woodland Hills certainly shows that they are still amongst the top teams in the WPIAL. Coming into tonight, they were ranked number 6 by MSA Sports. If a team ahead of them loses, got to expect Woodland Hills to move back into the top 5 again.
Yeah, that's true. They're putting that week 1 loss against Upper St. Clair in their rearview mirror. They're not even thinking about it. They've come out with a tremendous amount of force in the offensive and defensive games, and hopefully the special teams will start picking up as Harry Randall starts to get more comfortable being back there.
Again, on the television side, we're going to wrap it up here. The final 35-7 Woodland Hills over Bethel Park. I want to thank our television crew, including our executive producer and director, Larry George III. Our technical director, Lee Schaefer, was able to help us out, especially with some technical issues we had both with our newly installed field camera and some of our audio issues as well. Our camera operators, Lee Schaefer III, Joe Slick, and our new young man down on the field named Dan, and got to get his last name and into the credits for next week's broadcast. Of course, I'm Adam Gusky alongside of Fred Guy. Again, your final score, Woodland Hills defeats the Bethel Park Blackhawks 35-7. Next up for the Wolverines, the Plum Mustangs. It's a road game for the Wolverines as they travel to Plum to take on an old conference foe that's part of their new conference. And we will have the game live on radio and cable radio as well as on the internet starting at 6:40 p.m. And we'll also have our television replays throughout next week. Again, on the TV side, we're wrapping it up. Final score, Woodland Hills 35, Bethel Park 7. We'll talk to you next week from Plum. On the radio side, stay tuned for the State Senator Jay Costa post-game show. You've been tuned into the Wolverines and the Blackhawks on the Woodland Hills Football Network.